We want to sketch the graph of the function cosine of the quantity x plus pi fourths. So I'm going to start by drawing my axes and determining the period. The period of cosine x is 2 pi, and there's not a number in front of the x there, it's 1, so the period's still 2 pi. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, fourth one is 2 pi, and I'm going to do another one. That's 4 pi. I'm going to do it over here at the negative direction as well, negative 2 pi. So I can show 3 cycles here. Now, half of 2 pi is pi, so that tick marks pi, and half of that is pi over 2. So each tick mark is at pi halves. Now looking at the amplitude, it's a 1, so I'm going to go as high as 1 and as low as negative 1. All right, next I see that this has a horizontal or phase shift. If you take what's in the parentheses and put it equal to 0 and solve it, it will tell you how to shift the graph. So this graph is going to be moved to the left by pi fourths. Now the way I like to do phase shifts is I like to mark where the function would have been without the phase shift and then shift all the points. So this without the phase shift is just cosine x. Cosine of 0 is 1. I'm going to put an x there, not a dot, because that's not a point on the graph for our answer. It's a point on just the cosine x graph. So every fourth of a period, I've either got an intercept or a max or a min, so I'm putting x's where those would be if it was cosine x. Now I'm ready to apply the phase shift. I'm going to move everything to the left by pi fourths. Well, pi fourths is halfway between my tick marks here, so there's that point. Move to the left. Move every one of these x's to the left by pi fourths, and that will be a point on my graph. So I've moved all of those. Come over here, move this one, move this one, move this one. Move them all to the left by pi fourths, and then I join that up, and that's the graph of cosine of the quantity x plus pi fourths. So cosine graph shifted to the left by pi fourths. Before I go put this in the computer, I'm going to make note of a couple of key points then. I'm going to do the max and min. So the maximum is 1, and one of the places it occurs is at negative pi fourths. The minimum is negative 1. One of the places that occurs is halfway between pi halves and pi, which is at 3 pi fourths. So let's go ahead now and go to the graph. And so I make sure I click on the first one. The maximum was at negative pi fourths. Here's negative pi fourths, and it was 1. Then the minimum was at 3 pi fourths, and that minimum was negative 1. So I go over here to 3 pi fourths and put the minimum. Now that because I had that graphed on paper, it's really easy to do in the computer, knowing those key points. Then don't forget down here at the bottom it asks us to put in the period, which was 2 pi, and there we have it.